As you would anticipate and expect at a moment just before the market truly goes utterly crazy, the constant bull posting from reliable chart analysts is only becoming worse. I'll share with you the opinions of several analysts, including several who study XRP charts. At least we're getting close to the point where it's time to fly, the speaker concludes. And I have no doubts whatsoever about that one small bitty boo. However, I do want to be clear before continuing. I don't have any form of financial experience. I'm not giving financial advice, and whatever I say or write should not lead you to buy or sell anything. I'm merely a hobbyist who likes to create YouTube videos about crypto-related subjects for enjoyment. At least XRP is at $2.24, so the market is up a little. Bitcoin is just $109,000 away. Look at Ethereum, which is up more than 7% at $2,573. Even if you don't own ETH, you should be pleased to see it since, historically, the alt season does begin when ETH starts to go crazy. So, let's continue to hope for the best. However, I have a lot of reasons to be optimistic, which I have been explaining. Let's discuss additional confluence and reasons to be hopeful. And if you continue to follow this channel and see me highlighting all of these credible chart analysts, the rationale ought to become more and more obvious. Additionally, some of these individuals are real financial experts. You don't need to be really good at this. If you continue to observe, however, you will realize why they are becoming more and more absurdly, unrepentantly bullish. But let's start with this. Just the other day, Cointelegraph published this article, The Percentage Balance of Bitcoin on Exchanges. Well, isn't it an intriguing one? For the first time since August 2018, the fresh Bitcoin percentage supply on exchanges has fallen to almost 7-year lows at 14.5%. Well, isn't it interesting? You understand what that means, don't you? To be clear, for those of you who are watching the screen, this is what the yellow line represents. This implies that the lower it is, the more Bitcoin is removed from exchanges. Additionally, the more Bitcoin is off exchanges, the more likely it is that you have a large number of long-term, extremely positive holders who have no immediate plans to sell, because they would most likely just keep it on exchange if they were planning to sell or believe they may in the relatively near future, be it weeks, months, or whatever. However, they're not. This year in particular, they have been doing less and less of that. So consider that. As I write this, Bitcoin is at roughly $109,000, and people are not looking to sell at this time. Absolute madness. Oh, I adore it. Oh, I really adore it. Simply said, it's another item for you to view. There are many metrics worth examining, and this is only one more. And it's encouraging because you only need to wait for the retail crowd to arrive. Because of the influx of retail customers and the exhilaration, the price will eventually rise to such a high level that some of the individuals who have removed their Bitcoin from exchanges may relist it for sale. They will. Simply said, they won't at the current pricing. Consider that, even at $109,000, there are a lot of obstinate folks who say, nope, not selling. You will enjoy seeing it, because, you know, it's a condition you would hope would come before a major transfer. By the way, you can view the results of the previous cycle here. This was not the lowest point. What I'm saying is that, this is even more intense. This is why it's crazy. Take a look at 2020. When Bitcoin prices were rising, you could see what was happening. The yellow line is rising, you see. Bitcoin was becoming more and more expensive. Because they were more inclined to sell, more Bitcoin also ended up in the exchange's hands. That's precisely what took place. After that, it remained relatively high, rising slightly, falling slightly, and rising slightly again. You can observe the subsequent events. But take a look at that fantastic symbol. This is one of Julian Biddle's posts. He is Global Macro Investors' head of macro research. He adds that while speculators have been obstinately short the entire time and are still placing bets against the rebound, the S&P 500 is up about 30% from its April lows and is currently at fresh all-time highs. Now, people, I really adore that. And I was laughing about it the whole time because the market was collapsing at some points during the year, particularly in early April. Guys, historically, these moments don't last very long, I added. The pan is the flash. The market then makes a significant recovery. That's precisely what took place. It's not that I knew it would happen, to reiterate. It's because, historically speaking, that was the most likely result. It was almost a given that it would occur. There will always be that set of individuals who say, no, but this time is different when we reach those moments. And if it's not Planet War 3, it's something else. And it's the end of the planet because there may be a worldwide conflict. This time, however, it's different since it's a worldwide pandemic. Do you not comprehend international logistics? You tiny baby, stop talking. Put an end to it. You are a speaker of dread. You have no idea what you're discussing. These things are figured out by markets. Naturally, those who made that statement a few years ago were also mistaken, as they failed to adequately account for the sum of money that was going to be pumped into the entire economy. What about that? Do you know what a money printer is? Oh, geez. Go, money printer. Yes. Bitch, it's not because it's chilly. It's printing, that's why. Okay, just saying. Anyway, classic pain trade setup, he says. The market has a tendency to continue grinding higher when everyone is positioned incorrectly, pushing the shorts until they hurt the most. The short squeeze is equal to maximum agony. Something to consider. So, people, he's correct. Another item that is aligning is that there is more setup than you would want if you are a cryptocurrency holder hoping for a catastrophic meltdown. And then this. One more thing. Crypto Wizard shared this one. This is DXY, the US dollar index. Worst in 52 years, it says. I adore this. 52 years first half performance. I continued to yell for lower in addition to calling the top. DXY is repeating 2017, and there will be more negative effects. You should be aware of the upcoming risk assets, rocket ship emoji, ... That was his statement. All you have to know is that historically, the DXY and Bitcoin have moved in opposite ways. All you need to know is that, therefore, an increase in DXY indicates an increase in Bitcoin. Was that what I said in reverse? To be clear, some of you are aware that I am now feeling a little ill. I'm not exactly functioning at my best because I'm experiencing some mental fog, and my brain hasn't fully recovered. I hope I stated what I intended to say. Bitcoin is rising if the DXY is declining, which it is. That has simply been the situation in the past. Given that the DXY is declining, it's true that he has a fractal slapdown of the DXY from 2017, which caused the market to go completely insane. God, this alt season is crazy. On top of what's going on right now, DXY slapped the 2017 fractal, the red portion of the chart, and said, yeah, it's just kind of following it. It's a crude reflection of it. How about that, then? Figure it out. In addition to gold's chart weakness, which many credible chart analysts believe occurs when there is a bigger hunger for riskier assets like equities and cryptocurrencies, that's another point of convergence you would like and hope for. As a result, everything is going according to plan, and global liquidity is at an all-time high. But that's not all. Let's discuss Confluence in greater detail. This is why you will become wealthy from your excerpt. Though I can't guarantee it, I'm only stating that, for those who own a sufficient amount, I believe that many lives will be drastically altered here if it rises to the level that some of us believe and hope it will. This is Tuesday, July 1st, or there was a post yesterday. The Russell 2000 is this. Although I already posted this the other day, I'm going to share it first because of an update. He demonstrated the emergence of the Russell 2000. Small cap stocks are that. That indicates a widening gap in the market. If that occurs, you know what opportunities small cap stocks have? In the past, altcoins have benefited from this breadth at the same time because people are more willing to take on greater risk. That's all. He then demonstrated that it had only recently begun to spike, and have a peek at Bitcoin's location here. I'll show you the revised version later. Take a look at this. This is the following one, which is from Wednesday afternoon. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. Take a look at what's going on. It's simply going about its business. Oh, you must adore it. Simply said, there is greater confluence. Then you get things like these, which I think is fantastic because this isn't how the blockchain backer often posts. He will quit posting in this manner when it becomes unnecessary, which you should do, but for now, it makes sense. Your bullish thesis on your altcoin should be that the next leg of Bitcoin is the top. He argues to that effect. Oh, phew. You lack sufficient bullishness. In fact, that is my thesis. This next leg up is probably going to be the last one, in my opinion. If I'm mistaken, I'm mistaken. That's my thesis, though. Not bullish enough, after that. I hope so. If I'm not bullish enough in a month, I don't even know what it looks like in real life, but I hope so because I'm pretty optimistic here. I think it's going to go totally ham, so I can't even. This is just some wise advice from a reliable cryptocurrency source. Please, please, please refrain from attempting to time markets. I don't see much use in waiting for lower at this point, he says. Of course, we could succeed, but we are more than 90% below the peak. To be honest, I fail to see the purpose. By the way, I can speak from experience. People holding out for 5 to 10% less and then missing the boat is something I've witnessed several times. Heck, even though I had called for sub-$4000 when Bitcoin was selling at $12,000, it fell from $20,000 to $3,500 in 2018. Furthermore, I only filled out a portion of what I wanted to, a little under $4,000, since I became avaricious at the lowest points. However, a large number of my offers between $1,800 and $2,800 went unfulfilled. Remember the big picture, brother, because he's talking to someone else right now. It's more vital to establish a position somewhere down here than to nail the absolute summit. Alright, thus, that is accurate. And you can miss the wider picture here if you're focused on the percentage increases as they are at present. However, keep this in mind. If you had the option to purchase Bitcoin at $1,800, $2,800, or, say, $3,800, or $4,000, wouldn't you be thrilled if you purchased it today at any of those prices? Alright, however, what if you decide to buy now when you're still holding out hope that it drops? What happens if it goes from $3,800 to $1,800? That's the problem, you see. People are unable to handle cryptocurrency since such incidents do occur. The response is that if you purchase it and it drops by 40%, successful individuals simply purchase more. That's the hard answer, and most people don't want to hear it, especially if you're new. However, it's the truth. That's what we do, you know. For this reason, throughout the first 3 or more years that I owned XRP, I was either down on my investment or at break-even practically all the time. But I was expecting that. It didn't really, you know. I rapidly adapted to that, and I understood that rationally before I started doing what I was doing. It made me realize that, well, markets are generally erratic. The world's most volatile asset class is cryptocurrency. Yes, it is going to be completely insane. Well, just have that in mind. You can do whatever you want as long as you're attempting to, you know, time things in a specific way. I'm merely cautioning you. Well, it might not be the best course of action. This is a post from Mike Ubel Crypto, a chart analyst. He gave reasonable goals. He's quite conservative, I guess. Bitcoin will cost between $120 and $140,000, he predicts. That's not crazy. Now, is Ethereum a target, I wonder? That's not crazy, in my opinion. He's simply cautious when it comes to $7,000 to $10,000. XRP, and he's not a troll, mind you. XRP is $4 to $8, he claims. What if we hit $4 at the top of this cycle? In any case, XRP is the strongest coin this cycle, well, since the election, outperforming all other coins, including Bitcoin, and it is displaying incredible strength on the charts. It will continue to do what it does, which is to consolidate for almost 10 years, until it ultimately breaks over and hits $4. Is it possible? Since that would imply that I had not sold any of my XRP, I would be really upset. I simply don't think that's even somewhat likely. I've also discussed where I intend to sell. Therefore, I don't want to discuss it in this video again. I like that, aside from this man, who is the most conservative, there are a few other men, such as the blockchain booster, who is the second most conservative. He claims that it's between 8 to 10 plus $11 or something. However, there's nothing wrong with being conservative, and I appreciate different people. You genuinely believe that. Express your true feelings. Even though I won't enjoy it, I'll give him credit if he's correct here. If that's the case, he's correct, but they are honest assessments from respected analysts. I couldn't find a lower price. I'm sharing it with you for that reason. Like, I don't mind sharing the less interesting viewpoints, but I just want you to know that it's an anomaly, and outliers are typically wrong. In other words, they are typically incorrect on both extremes, the highs and the lows. They are seldom, but they can be. Folks, the truth is generally somewhere in the center, which is why I keep saying things like, if most analysts are saying close to 10 or anywhere between, like, 10 to 30 bucks, maybe it's somewhere in the, I don't know, it's going to be 15 or 20 bucks. I'm not sure. Will the peak be located there? But I'm just asking, are you serious if he reaches $10,000 and XRP doesn't compete for the second position? However, if it happens, that would immediately amount to $20 XRP. I'm just stating that. This is one of Don Alt's posts. He told his 671,000 X followers about this. By the way, this guy despises XRP. From an ideological standpoint, he hates it, which indicates that he has a poor worldview toward cryptocurrency and is incorrect in assessing the worth of goods. After reading everything I've read from him over the years, I would say that's my opinion. However, he does appear to be, as far as I can tell, intellectually honest. Regarding the direction he believes XRP is taking, he has continuously been intellectually honest. The answer is also much higher. Additionally, he was discussing the breakout and advocating for much higher prices in early November. Once more, give credit where credit is due and have a look at this. Consider all of the analysts from the XRP community who have been discussing our current cycle position. See where he circled here. Don Alt, who is not in the community, is making the same dang argument, which I keep bringing up from a ton of analysts because it makes historical and logical sense. Those you see back here after viewing them on the screen, that's where we are at the moment. After that, this other purple circle back here represents the year 2017. After its initial push from half a penny to around 42 cents, XRP consolidated there for 6 months before soaring. We're clearly nearing the end of it, but he's maintaining that we're just in consolidation. Here is an XRP hater who is arguing the same points as XRP enthusiasts and analysts who are merely indifferent to XRP, don't care about it emotionally, and don't even see themselves as belonging to the community. I keep up with them all. I follow haters, neutrals, and people who share my views and are merely pro-XRP. And I consistently discover this from men who are intellectually honest and have solid performance histories. This is what I continue to discover. Folks, I believe they are correct. If they were mistaken, I would be startled. Yes, I would. Yes, that is the case when so many very skilled experts with excellent records are expressing the same opinion. Flash, a chart analyst, posted this. Valhalla calls the price chart for XRP here. Additionally, this is consistent with what I continue to observe from freaking everyone. It will soon start to emerge. We are currently at that point, right up against the trend line, and it will quickly soar to $5. It's simply another example, but I'm not sure whether he believes that's what will stop. Here's another illustration. Zoom is a chart analyst. XRP at any moment. He thinks it will emerge from this symmetrical triangle. As you can see, we're quite near, and it might be any day, really. That's what I keep insisting on. We're not sure. It might happen now or tomorrow. It might be more than a month later. The exciting aspect, though, is that we're not positive. All we know is that these are the established criteria. Because of this, you should anticipate that it could happen on any given day. Okay, even if it's more than a month away. However, it might happen sooner. That is why it is enjoyable. This is one of Nick Crypto Crusader's posts. The fact that some cryptocurrency holders from years ago still don't get how or why cryptocurrencies move is absurd. Bitcoin's dominance has not yet formally peaked or shown any significant indications of waning. Even the majority of the altcoin transactions that took place between November and January were insignificant. During that period, the total 3 against Bitcoin never really started. The market was actually trading at resistance. This is also the reason I think you were delighted with XRP's increase from 40 cents to $3.40. The following step will stun you to no end. I will definitely purchase that since I am aware that, typically, the second pump in the cycle for XRP performs significantly better than the first pump in terms of revenue. The dollar move in the first one will be dwarfed by this one if you like it. Based on historical precedent, that is what we should anticipate. Indeed, it is accurate. Eagered Crypto posted this. XRP is moving, closing above $2.42. It's time to take off. He is only discussing a crucial level to be aware of. That is consistent with what many analysts have pointed out. So, if that's true, I won't be shocked. Folks, we have a little bit further to go. We're going to make it. We will arrive, no matter how long it takes. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say should cause you to buy or sell anything, right? That would not be a good idea at all.